Yes. Okay, there we go.
In my eye.
Oof. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Dark Mirror Show with Shell. Welcome to the Dark Mirror Show with moi. And look.
And moi.
It's her. So the Rearview Mirror Show will be back, but because Taylor is actually moving into her house this weekend and she's got to sort out internet and this, that, and the other, I'm hoping to get Talk recommended to Talk because that's what I'm on.
Because it's a new build, no one's providing Wi-Fi there.
So we've got to see what's going on. So hopefully,
my address doesn't even exist at the moment.
So hopefully we will.
It's all right. You could have moved into an estate in Colchester. You're not even allowed to have Sky. There's an entire estate in Colchester where they are not allowed to have Sky.
Really? Why?
Because apparently it ruins the look of the buildings.
Oh, it's a Ponzi estate.
Even though they're brand new buildings, apparently they're not allowed to have Sky dishes on view or dishes that can be seen from the footpath.
Yeah, I was told if I get it, I have to have it installed at the back of the house, not at the front.
Yeah, but Sky dishes have got to be pointing in a certain direction.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if it goes round the back, you might not get a signal, depending on what direction they need to get the signal.
I've heard a few certain gentlemen say something about if it goes round the back, it has to go in a certain direction. I don't know what that was about, but you know.
That's how you made your first £5, Dad. Oh, you turned your...
Bugger. Hang on.
Oh, you've gone all white.
Camera, come back on. You're going to come back on.
Put it away. That is disgusting.
Bugger. Hang on.
Oh, you've gone all white. Okay, that sounds a bit dodgy.
Unplug it again.
Hang on. You're going to lose my sound. Hang on. All right. Hang on. Okay.
You're going to lose sound as well as picture.
Hang on.
Oh, Dad. Oh my God. Dad. Oh my.
What?
For fuck's sake.
Dad. Oh my God, Dad. There we go.
He switched it off.
You told me to get my hand. Anyway, yes, as I'm saying. Oh, hi, Andy. You're right, mate. I'm glad you. How's everyone this evening? Well, we are all fine, I think. I was just saying the Rearview Mirror Show will be back, but because Taylor's moving into a new house from yesterday, and there isn't internet there yet, it's literally we just got to wait till the internet's in and everything. Are you okay? There you are.
Oh.
Yeah.
You all right?
I'm
You're tired.
Mark, I think we've got a ghost in the machine. Everything just paused for a moment and we got the refreshing symbol came up in the middle of the screen and then came back to normal again.
And it's put everything onto my alternative camera. Hang on, which looks better? This camera?
To be honest, I didn't notice it.
Or this camera?
The other one seemed all right.
All right. Sorry, let's put
this one lags more.
It makes your scene a lot whiter because it picks up all the white at the border of the computer screen on this one. So let's go back to...
I think that one lags more as well.
That camera.
That's better.
Okay, well, there you go. So, a ghost in the machine, would that be this ghost? Ghost!
No, I don't think he was sitting on your laptop.
She wasn't. I don't know because it swapped the cameras out when I put it on this one. The only reason I use the other one is because it's full HD. The one that's built into my laptop is crap. So that's why that's why I use the one.
I wouldn't know. I'm just using my mobile phone.
To be honest, I think I might start doing it because the camera on my mobile. You saw it yourself when I do investigations. When I take the only camera I use is the camera on my phone because it's a brilliant camera. And anyway, hiya, James, mate. Nice to see you in the room, and everybody else. Yes, we're gonna talk about ghosts in the shell, as in like gremlins and crap like that. But one thing I wanted to say is there's been a load of all this para-unity and being friends and getting on and this, that, and the other. And I would just, we've been talking about it because Wayne and I have been friends for years. and we were talking about this, and we've all said, unfortunately, the thing that spoils a lot of the para unity and everybody getting on with each other is people's egos. Like, we do this because we like doing it, and that's the only reason we like do it. We do all this. I mean, I give up my Fridays. He gives up his Fridays, and none of us get paid for it. We literally do it because we love doing it. But unfortunately, you get people who get famous, maybe have been on a program, maybe have written a book, maybe have been on a radio, whatever, and it happens in not just paranormal, it happens in other places as well. It goes to their head, and they forget about their friends, and they fall out with people, or they don't want to do a show or whatever with somebody else because they had a better book or it's rubbish. Who?
Yeah.
It's rubbish. You know, we're all paranormal investigators, and we all started stuff like this purely because they've either books at school or Most Haunted. And no matter how many people slate Most Haunted, most of us wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Most Haunted. I'm not a fan of Most Haunted, but I used to watch it until certain things happened that we all went, and that's when I stopped. But as I say, we wouldn't be here if we weren't watching stuff like that. So
yeah, and it's very similar with like the music scene as well. I mean, I'm a big fan of Jean-Michel Jarre. You know, I've got all the albums. I've met him personally. And
are you a groupie? I mean, groupie.
No, I'm just a fan of his music. You know, and I've been to, I think, 6 or 7 of his concerts. But but people, when you look at it, if loads of people say, "Oh, he was the godfather of music," he was the one that brought electronic music to the forefront a lot more. Although the likes of Kraftwerk and Tangerine Dream were around, and Vangelis all around at the same time.
Tangerine Dream are going to be live at Great Yarmouth next month.
Oh, cool.
Has your dog farted? I can't smell it.
So although these other electronic artists were around at the time, everybody's pointing the finger at Jean-Michel Jarre for bringing it more to the forefront. He doesn't worry about that. He just gets on with it, does what he has to do. Yeah. And as a result, a lot of other electronic artists have come forward. And a lot of the bigger artists will say, if it wasn't for the likes of Jean-Michel Jarre, they would have never have got into the electronic music scene in the first place.
Exactly. That's what annoys me in a lot of things. I mean, I'm not going to go into too many details, but a long time ago, I used to do a lot of backstage stuff, normally security, but I know a lot of 80s pop stars who were very big. But when you get to know them, there's only like the odd couple who are up there on asses. The rest of them are down to earth, want to meet people, want to meet the people that work for them, etc., 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 because they don't forget where they came from. And that's the thing I've noticed with the paranormal is when Most Haunted first started, or just before Most Haunted first started, wasn't mainstream, and we were looked upon as complete crackheads, you know. And then Most Haunted started, and then you get the likes of our show, which is completely run by crackheads. But you know what I mean? As Andy said, it inspired so many paranormal programs worldwide. It inspired programs and radio shows and lots of spin-offs and this, that, and the other. And it's exactly right. We all slate it because it's gone into the realms of some of it's just pure comical gold. But it didn't used to be. And it's that got a lot of us where we are now and doing the stuff that we are now. And those ones who get very, very famous, a lot of them do forget about us little people. And it's that annoys me, because at the end of the day, you're only famous because we like your shows. And one day we won't be liking your shows and you won't be famous anymore. And then...
Well, I mean, basically another way of looking at it, if it wasn't for the little people, there wouldn't be any big people.
Exactly.
Because it's the little people that prop up the big people.
Yeah, and you love doing your books, you love doing the shows, you love investigating. Same here, you know. And it's like my friends across the pond. Some of them, as you know, are barking but I would kill to go on an investigation with them. And they don't do it because they want to be famous or this, that, and the other. They do it because they love doing it. And that's, in this world, in the paranormal world, I think that's what means a lot more to me, is when people are genuine rather than fake. I've got a lot of
that's why one of the friends I know in the States, Jeremy York, he's got the Things Network. And me and my investigation team, we're part of that Things Network for the UK. And basically it's a group where if they've got an issue with something going on in your property, you contact the Things Network and they put the feeder out for teams that are nearby that area to go and investigate it and see what can be done.
That's a good idea, that.
And
on our wall.
Yeah, and the Things Network, that is worldwide. So basically, you just put in, I've got an issue in my house. They say, right, they'll then message you and they'll say, right, where are you located? And we'll see if we can get someone out to you. It's a bit like a fifth emergency service as such, you know. And then they put the feeder out to the various groups in that area and say, look, we've got an issue. And we had that come up this morning. Someone that lives in Kirby, just outside Liverpool, had got an issue. And it was a case of, is anyone near Kirby? Because we've got something going on in the property. And between, I think it was Jacqueline Dixon, actually put them on to this guy that only lives down the road.
Brilliant.
So the Things Network just proves that there is para-unity out there.
Exactly. So,
and we're all quite willing to help without charging a lot of money. We don't charge anything. So,
well, that's brilliant. And one other thing, whilst I think about it, Elisa Orchin got a hold of me in the week, and I think that's how you pronounce her name, Orkin. Anyway, Dark Skies Paranormal in Northern Ireland. She would like to come on the show one day as a guest.
Cool.
And I said yes, why not? So
yeah.
We will. Jesus says, "Sir, we'll have one of those talking to us in a few weeks." That's all. Wrong accent. That's the South. But yes, Lisa, if you're watching, Dark Skies Paranormal, Northern Ireland, we'll have you on there.
Lisa, if you're watching, I'm sorry for that accent.
My family from Southern Ireland. I can only do the Southern Ireland accent because Northern Irish accent is very harsh to do, and I can't really do it. So yeah. She tried to do it the other day and sounded Scottish. So I won't put you through that agony.
Ah, what are you doing in my swamp?
Donkey's asking for the smacked bottom. Anyway. So, yes, para-unity. It needs to be a bit more than it is at the moment, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and the problem is as well, excuse me, I just got to make yourself comfortable.
He's not. He's actually scratching his balls.
I'm not. I'm actually sitting on my bed because this is the quietest place in my house. I've got a skull floating about over my shoulder. Look.
To be fair, sugar skull. I like them.
Yeah. That was hand decorated by myself.
Told you.
Oh, where is it? There he is.
No, I like that.
Told you.
There we go.
I do like that. Oh, he does.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like with me and my books. I was always good at writing as a child, and my mum had always said to me, you know, you should get them out there, publish them, and all this, that, and the other. Yeah. I never really bothered, and it wasn't until I started writing the short stories for the in between seasons with Most Haunted that I thought, you know what, I feel the need to start publishing them. So I mean, it's like when I did the Parafest, I was absolutely pooping myself. And
I know, ladies and gentlemen, I took a shovel.
I was quite happy to just sit outside behind my little table with me books and see if anybody buys them. That was what I was happy doing. I wasn't too interested in standing up and doing a talk.
Was that the first time you've ever done that, the talk?
That's the first time I've ever actually had to talk to people. I mean, when I was...
It's daunting, isn't it, the first one?
Yeah, the problem is I'm used to doing that before because I used to be in a duet. a little band up until 2000, doing cover songs, and I was the singer and keyboards. And so, like, when you go up on stage, you know, the nerves are there. And I was as nervous as hell. My friend's wife said, you know, just have some of these, take some of these calms, the old calm tablets.
His
And
friend's
to be
wife,
honest,
"Yeah, one of these brownies."
your microphone's going, mate.
Carry on.
Let's change it.
I took these 2 calms and I ended up being worse after the calms than I was beforehand. So,
Yeah, it's one of those things, unfortunately. Can you hear me better like that?
no,
Or-
it's got worse.
Can you hear me better like that?
Yeah, it's a bit better now.
Right, okay, let's do that. Okay.
So-
You're gonna have to put up with me looking awfully pale. Sorry.
But, you know, I mean, to actually stand up there and talk, I mean, I'd had my talk all written out. The following morning, I got downstairs. I looked at the talk and thought, nah, I don't like that. So I literally deleted it. And it turned out that just reading it 3 times, I'd actually remembered it word for word. And when it came to doing my speech, I ended up spilling out everything that I'd written out already on the iPad and then deleted.
Do you know what it was? Because I used to have to do a lot of talks up and down the UK in the martial arts world. And do you know what it was? Because I was always shit scared. And there was one thing that happened that broke the ice, and it was 800 people. And this was North Somerset. And the thing that broke the ice was we did it. We always do a demo. And we did a demo. And I won't mention the guy's name, but he was a big fella. Looks like very much like Harrison Ford. And there was a move where I swept his arm out of the way, and I went underneath the arm, and I sort of flicked my hand like that. But you tuck your thumb under and pop the muscle out like that, and you do it straight into the groin. So I've swept it, and I got bang. But because I was nervous and I knew I had to talk afterwards, it wasn't. Ding, it was full. I went full pelt, reverse knife hand into the guy's groin. Cut about 3 seconds of not breathing and felling him like a tree. And then I remember he was about 3 times the size of me. He's in the fetal position and gone green. You've got 800 people giggling, and I'm stood there looking at him, and I've got tears coming down my eyes, and I am killing myself laughing. And it was that, and I just turned around and looked at everybody, and I was just like, "It'll be all right on the night," and that was it. That brought the house down, and I just started talking. But I found if I do speeches or anything like that, I can't do it. But if I just give myself little notes with just like I could say front kick, and then I can go off on one and do all the little anecdotes and this, and it's the same with the paranormal. I've found I won't do a speech. I'll do little tiny notes, and it kicks my brain off, and I work far better off the cuff than I do if I write a speech.
Yeah, I mean, that was what I intended on doing after I'd written the speech out and then thought, you know what, I'm just going to wing it. And I deleted it. And then it turned out that I'd still remembered it. And the first thing I wanted to start off with was making people have a giggle.
Yeah.
And I got up to I got the forewarning that it was time for me to go upstairs for the speech.
Don't show them the elephant impersonation, because that doesn't work these days.
And I'm sort of walking up the stairs thinking, well, there's only going to be about 3 or 4 people in there. And when I got up there, the whole room was full of people.
It's daunting.
And I'm like, oh my God, I've gone back to the band days, like 100 people standing there staring at me. Of course, it weren't that full, but I'm shaking like a leaf. And all of a sudden, the speech that I'd written came in, and I'd walked down the aisle, stood there behind the microphone, and the first thing I did was went, "My fellow Americans," and I went, "Oh, hang on, wrong speech." And I got a few giggles from that, so I thought, well, that's all right. Now I'll just keep going with it. Next minute I knew, I was coming out with the exact speech that I'd already deleted off my iPad. And as a result, it went really well. But in essence, it's not something I would normally do. The problem is if I have to go and do book signings and stuff, then, you know, I've got to stand there and, you know, after the speech, I got back downstairs and I'd got an army of people all coming up saying, you know, can I have some of your books, please? And I'm like, yeah, who do I make it out to?
That's what you needed.
And it was weird to actually have a queue of people wanting me to sign their books. And that's the second time that's happened, where I've had a queue of people and they're all saying, oh, well, you know, can you sign it to so-and-so? And I'm like, yeah, okay. But I just don't have the time for egos, and I'd rather just sort of get up there, do something, and then just disappear quick. So I haven't got to stick around and go
so
with it.
You want to be a panda then? Eat, shoots, and leaves.
Yeah. I'm not the sort of person that likes the limelight. If I'm thrusted, if I'm thrusted into the limelight, then I'll have to deal with it. But I'm not comfortable with it.
If you're thrusted, then just don't neglect the balls, all right? One thing I've got to say before we start doing the show, this didn't go down too well. I showed you this just now. You see the tank?
Yeah.
That fish tank. I said I would get scuba outfit, little tiny scuba sub-aqua outfit for Finley, and he could go swimming in there. And I did put him in there a couple of times, and she told me off. I thought it was ideal for him. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are available for birthdays and bar mitzvahs. We don't bite much, and we all have our own teeth. She's got rabies. Just back away slowly from her. So, we're going to talk about Ghosts in the Machine. And when I say Ghosts in the Machine, I do not mean my dog operating heavy machinery. Okay.
That's only her weekday job.
So what's her weekend job?
You don't want to know.
She's not. She isn't the manager for the stripper mouse.
I don't know.
We have a stripper mouse in this house, by the way.
She bought the stripper mouse in, I'm pretty sure.
Right. Long story short.
Big old titties.
Oh, can you open that window for the cat? Because he's black, you ain't going to see him against that backdrop. All we hear is him slip off and hit the floor.
No, the back door's open.
Okay.
The back door's open.
The cats like to bring in live field mice. You know, the really cute ones, about how big with the big ears. They like to bring them in. And there was one that got dropped and I couldn't catch it. Don't know what happened to it. I can only assume the worst happened to it. It's either that or when I move one of those fish tank bases tomorrow, we're in for a hell of a surprise.
Oh.
But every now and again, Taylor will be saying stuff and you'll hear a really high-pitched voice just mouth off at her and swear at her. And, it's like, and you'll hear things like, stuff like that. And it's the stripper mouse. And you know it's the stripper mouse because if it was any kind of stripper animal, you'd hear it squeak down the pole. But a mouse is completely covered in fur, so it muffles it, so you won't hear it. So you know it's a stripper mouse. So every now and again, the stripper mouse comes in, and I reckon Ghost is or her manager. I'm not sure which. I haven't been taking drugs, I can assure you. Anyway.
He has, I can assure you.
We're going to talk about Ghosts in the Shell. Do you know when they first, all that nonsense about Ghosts in the Shell, Ghosts in the Machine, all that stuff? Do you know when it first came, where it first came from?
No.
Well, there's two schools of thought. The original Ghosts in the Machine apparently happened in Victorian times when they employed children to run up and down the big looms if the shuttlecock got caught.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, a lot of accidents happened. A lot of young, small children got killed. And it happened a few months later on certain machines. Funny enough, up north, up here in Yorkshire, there's two particular cases of them. I won't talk about them now, where the machines were just shut down. And it would always be a fault at the same point where the child got killed. And that's where they think the original Ghost in the Machine came from. But there's also the second school of thought, which says that the Ghost in the Machine came from the likes of the RAF during World War II when they talk about gremlins.
Yeah.
And the USAF would talk about gremlins as well, wouldn't they?
Yeah, there was. Well, it's quite a predominant thing with the USAF and the RAF during World War II.
Fighters came from there as well, didn't they?
Yes. And that was also registered with not only American Air Force, but the RAF, the Luftwaffe, the Japanese Air Force, and even the Russians and German. You know, they'd all had documented.
That's right.
Seeing things, either sort of tailgating them or flying alongside them. And 9 times out of 10, they were also like, oh, yeah, well, that's because you were tired. You know, you'd run so many sorting missions.
Or oxygen depletion, wasn't it? Because they were too high.
Yeah. So they would always point the finger, which, in a sense, is another way of trying to blindside the truth.
Yeah. Almost like full disclosure in America. Anyway, do you know how I've heard a voice recording of the Japanese Zero pilots when they thought that there was a ghost in the machine? Do you know what they say? It's weird because you hear them and they go, "Oh, bloody ghost in the machine! No, $20." And just the strangest thing, we don't know what that was all about with the $20 bit. We just don't know. Me love you, GI. What?
That's not.
Anyway. But those
that's
are where
that's the Thai Air Force, isn't it?
The Thai Air Force. They're the only people who their best dress involves a kilt. And you can hear a little bell dingling.
Yeah, they're probably about as good as the Swiss Navy.
What, completely landlocked country? Yes.
Yeah.
No, yes. For your delight and perusal, we will talk about the Ghost in the Machine. But the one, see. You know as well as I do, there are lots of tales of various mill equipment from the Victorian era having had deaths involving children because they used to employ the children because they were small enough to do these things. And there's a lot of alleged buildings and equipment that's supposed to have these spirits in them, which I can see. Yeah, I get that because you know yourself. When there's a mass trauma event, the amount of energy it gets expelled, it will, you know yourself, stays in a building, stays in a big piece of equipment. I get that. But gremlins in machines where there hasn't been any death, they may have caused death, but, you know, planes and stuff, but there hasn't been any death yet. And a lot of the reports of gremlins were on US bombers on like the first missions and stuff like that. So the plane hadn't long been built and it was just put out. But there was a lot of them refused to pilot the first ones, weren't there?
Yeah, and a lot of it was centered around these gremlins were actually, to start off with, they reckon that they were put there on purpose by the likes of the Luftwaffe to deliberately sabotage the aircraft while they were in flight, and they were supposed to sort of get into the fuselage or in the undercarriage and deliberately pull at cables and hydraulic pipelines and stuff to actually damage the aircraft so it couldn't complete its mission.
Do you reckon there's something in that? Because as we both know on previous shows that we've talked about, the Luftwaffe, the German military machine as a whole were into some seriously weird shit, especially as you know the paranormal division of the SS. And they were developing very strange things, as in, i.e., Die Glocke. They were looking for very strange things. Die Glocke, the Nazi bell. I'll tell you later. They were looking into very strange things like Shangri-La in Nepal and Himalayas, the Spear of Destiny, and all sorts of things like that. They were looking for that to try and give them an edge and develop more and more things. But the Glocke was a bell-shaped craft, but because most of the papers were burnt, weren't they?
Yeah.
They don't know if they were developing it as a type of anti-grav aircraft or a time machine. But all we know is it was to do with red mercury, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
red mercury was supposed to be used as a propellant.
Yep, red mercury, stupidly rare, stupidly experimental, and highly volatile, isn't it?
It's stupidly unpredictable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Nazi henge is there in Poland, isn't it?
Yeah, that's still there.
The Glocke. It was supposed to be had chains attached to it, and it would hover. It would spin, and it had a pilot and a co-pilot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't very big. It only housed 2 people.
Yeah. and it was the ins right. Russian dolls. You got that bit, and you got that bit, and the outside span, and the bits inside that you had the pilot and co-pilot. They stayed there, but the outside span run on Red Mercury, and it was chained down, so it could hover so far, but it couldn't go any further. But they don't know if it was antimatter UFO or a type of time machine. And it was a real thing.
You could get the same effect with just using magnets. They're so stupid. Jesus.
That's how they get the maglev
Can you imagine?
trains.
Can you imagine using an unpredictable medium as a way of getting what you want? Just use magnets.
An unpredictable
idiots.
medium, is that like somebody who's walking down the bread aisle and Sainsbury's and somebody goes, Sydney, are you there?
I can feel whole wheat.
That's an unpredictable medium.
The thing is though is as well that sort of like the 30s and 40s was all about discovery. Who could get to the discovery first? And with the Die Glocke,
and it wasn't the Russian and the rest of the world. It was literally Germany, Japan, and the rest of the world.
Yeah. But once they realised that they were going to be defeated, that the Die Glocke wasn't going to come out in or be finished in enough time for it to have made a difference, they destroyed all the paperwork, and all the scientists that were involved with building it were all assassinated or all executed.
Apart from 2.
Yeah, only 2 made it out alive. And there wasn't much paperwork left. So it's all now down to speculation as to what the bell was, what it was used for, what the propellant was, what the henge is all about. And unless you're actually going to get one of those 2 people that actually survived the executions to actually come forward and say, this is what it was for.
Before you tell your joke, one of them he was the guy who went on to become the father of modern space travel.
Frank von Braun.
Yes.
Developed the Saturn V rocket and the V1.
That's right. What's your joke?
So a man calls the police and he's like, I've been shot. And they said, oh yeah. Was it with the machine gun? He said, no, it was with the Glocke.
Anyway.
So a Glock?
A Glock, yes. Yeah.
Do you know what? I won't tell a word of a lie, but some tumbleweed has just come right through my bedroom.
I was going to say that. I thought,
and I think I heard a distant bell chiming.
Intellect is too much for you.
Do you remember? Was it they used to do that? Hang on. Can you keep your COVID to yourself?
Guys, got a decent joke. Decent joke. Mangoes in a bar. Strange place for mangoes, but there you go.
It is, isn't it? Yes.
That was also terrible.
I got one for you before.
Almost as bad as Die Glocke.
I've got one joke for you. This is in the days when, we had people going around to Native American tribes back in the 17th century trying to spread the word of God and turn those heathens into Christians, yeah? Missionaries, yeah? Right. You've got a missionary who's been sent to an Apache tribe with his wife. And he turns around to his wife. Today, we're going to go around. We're going to try and spread the word of God. You must see these savages. We all know they're not, so don't get huffy. You must see these savages and spread the word of God and tell him he's actually a nice God. So his wife goes out, sees an Indian brave, a feather in his, in his headband. She goes, I say, you're awfully brave. What does the one feather mean? And he goes, me brave warrior, me buck 1 squaw a night. Excuse me? Me brave warrior, me buck 1 squaw a night. And she goes, oh, okay, thank you very much. Off she goes. Sees another one, and he's got 2 feathers. Asks him the same question. And he goes, me brave warrior, me buck 2 squaws a night. So this goes on, 3 feathers, 4 feathers, etc., etc., etc. Same answer, So she goes to see the chief, and she's allowed into his tent, and she goes, I say, Chiefy, I have spoken to all your lovely, wonderful braves out there. Oh, marvelous men. But I have to ask you, I'm sat here talking to you, and that the strange smelling herbs in your pipe are fantastic, by the way. But this long feather headdress that you have on, all these millions of feathers, what do they mean? And he goes, me big chief, me buck 100 squaws a night. She goes, pardon? Me big chief, me buck 100 squaws a night. And she goes, oh dear. And he goes, no, buck dear, ask too hard, run too fast. Anyway, shall we crack on with Ghost in the Shell? Oh, you liked it, really? God, you lot.
We can all tell terrible jokes is what we found.
You know what? I would come up with one of my jokes, but unfortunately, they might be offensive. So,
well, put out a warning and then say your joke.
Oh, go on then. All right. Well, this was one that went around during the first Gulf War.
Oh God. Go on. Such a caring.
Anyway. Yeah, this was going around amongst us troops during the first Gulf War. Basically, Saddam Hussein and George Bush talking on the phone. Saddam Hussein saying, come over to Baghdad. I've got a weapon that will wipe America off the face of the earth. So Bush is like, no, I'm not having that. So goes over there, walks into the presidential palace, into Saddam's office. There's Saddam Hussein sitting there at the table, 2 boxes in there. He says, right, put your hand in that box and press the button. So he puts his hand in, presses the button. He says, now take it out. Takes it out, and his hand has gone. There's just a stump. There's no stitches, no blood, just a stump. He's like, oh, no, what's going on?
Carry on.
So he says, right. He says, right. He says, put your hand in the other box, press the button. So he puts his arm in the other box, presses the button. He says, now take it out. Takes his arm out, hand is back. No stitches, no blood. She's like, oh, I'm not having this. Steams out, goes back to Washington, gets all his scientists around the table. A couple of days later, they come back and said, we've done it. Get on the blower to Saddam. We've got him. So he's on the phone. He says, right, Saddam, I've beaten you. My weapon's far better than yours. Saddam flies over into the Oval Office. And there's George Bush sitting at the desk with 2 boxes. He says, right. He says, Saddam Hussein starts laughing. He says, this is no good. This is same as mine. He said, just humour me and put your hand in the box and press the button. So he puts his hand in the box, presses the button. Guess what? Take it out. He takes his hand out and it's still there. And he starts laughing. He says, your trick doesn't work. So he turns around and he says, are you sure? He said, well, my hand is still here. He went, yeah, your hand may be, but Baghdad isn't.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say that. Yeah. Ooh, a little controversial. I like that. Right. Ghost in the Machine. Do you want to talk about the first one?
I'd rather do the second one. I can't read the first one. It's too small.
Oh, I'll do the first one.
I haven't got my go-go gadget eyes on.
I have. This is all about a power drainage. And this happened in Brecon to a couple called Gil and Liz Rich, and this was in 1995. And it was an electricity bill. That's right. Here we go. Yep, electricity bill. The last one that popped through their letterbox was for more than £750 for a quarter. And I think I've paid bills on quarter before, and that's a lot. That's a hell of a lot. 750 quid for 3 months electric. That's a lot of money. We worked it out that if we had all our appliances working 24 hours a day, we wouldn't have run up a bill a quarter of that size, says Liz's husband. We don't know who or what is using the electricity, and all we know is it isn't us. Bill and Liz Rich moved into... Oh, this is Brecon, and it's a Welsh name. I'm terribly sorry if I offend any of David Thomas's relatives. Oh, David Thomas, you bloody fool. You could have a bit of cock there. They moved into Hwyl Fanog. I think that's how you say it. Hwyl Fanog, 6 years ago, with Bill's son from his previous marriage. Now, perhaps it was an omen because the son was called Damien. They had been looking for a place to rent in the area for months and were surprised when a local landowner offered them such substantial accommodation at such a reasonable rent. It was a barn conversion, and it was converted in the 50s using building materials from the long abandoned farmhouse, which abuts it. They have made sure that the word says abut, and it's underlined there. It means it's joined on. For all you heathens out there. The house was perfect for their needs. There was a 40-foot studio on the top floor. Studio flat's basically a bedsit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Where Bill could paint his bold and bright animal canvases. That first summer, everything went right, he recalls. My work really took off. It was featured in all the magazines, and I couldn't stop selling stuff. Then Liz got pregnant, and I thought, hello, I've had the snip. We thought everything was wonderful, and then in the autumn of 1989, things started to go wrong. Hang on, 89, it said 95 at the top there. Yeah, let's carry on. The first problem arose late one night when Bill was in the downstairs lavatory. I remember it so well. I heard footsteps in the hall above me. He says big footsteps, like a man in hobnail boots. Bearing in mind the place was a farmhouse conversion. Stamping on the floorboards. I went upstairs and Liz was feeding the baby. Right, it didn't explain they had a baby since Damien. Right, Liz was feeding the baby and Damien was asleep in his room. There was no one else in the house. Soon smells came, apparitions, paintbrushes flying around Bill's studio. This is according to them, I might add. Bill's luck began to change. From being interior design's flavour of the month, he found he couldn't sell a picture. And then the bills started. Massively so. The electricity bills were £750 one quarter, then £512 13 pence the next, and this is 1989, so that would be the equivalent now of what, £1,500 a quarter? I reckon.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah. So I'd say 1,200 quid a quarter. I thought maybe someone was tapping the stuff off from further down the line, because I know a lot of that used to go on. But when I contacted Swalek, the local electricity program, which he pronounces contemptuously to rhyme with bollock, swallock, I can see that. They said that it was not possible and that I had to pay for whatever the meter showed. I was desperate for explanations, so I asked a spiritualist to come and take a look. For a while, the house became a field centre for psychic research. Spiritualists of every hue wanted to come and commune with the other side in the Rich's living room. All sorts of trances were entered into, and all sorts of tongues were spoken in, and all sorts of explanations given for the happenings. One psychic, however, latching on to the local gossip that the last man to be hung in Brecon murdered his victim in the abandoned farmhouse next door, reckoned it was either the murderer or his victim doing the haunting. And another told Bill that he was being pursued by the relatives of the 16th century alchemist he had murdered in previous life. Wow. Another, an American evangelist, explained that Bill had been chosen by the Antichrist to direct evil spirits up from where the ley lines crossed in the middle of his downstairs lavatory. Cool, can you imagine going there and having a number two there? To signal the end of the world. We don't want to know anyone from the psychic world anymore, says Liz. But one thing nobody could explain was who was using the electricity. Certainly not Swalek, and yet the bills kept coming, and Bill and Liz were forced to pay them. Swalek's men came to visit several times to test the meter, and while examining it, the last inspector to call asked Bill to go around the house and ensure every single electrical appliance was switched off. So I did, Bill recalls. But he said I must have left the light on because the little wheel on the meter was still spinning round. So I took him on a tour of the house to show him nothing was on. But still, the little wheel was going like crazy. And he said he'd never seen anything like it. So, in other words, it was a faulty meter. So I asked him if he was going to report what he'd seen. And he said it was more than his job's worth. Before I carry on any more on this, this does not sound like a ghost in the machine. This sounds like a dodgy meter. Swalek are making a load of money from one household and gone, do you know what? Sod it. If you've got the inspector turning around saying it's more than my job's worth to say I have seen the meter still going round, that pretty much says it all, doesn't it?
But the thing is, as well, is that even if you've got stuff on standby, I mean, you know, he states on there that obviously everything was all switched off.
Yeah.
and they checked, and the wheel's still turning. So, like you say, it's a faulty meter.
Yeah.
However, you're saying to me they don't have a fridge or a freezer.
Well, I mean, it's like our meter here. We've got key meters, but for some reason it's set on a high rate. And I've rung them and said, you've got it set on a really high rate because we're using, about 15, 20 quid a week, isn't it? On our meter.
If that.
No, it's about 15.
Because we've got 2 tanks running, yeah.
It's about 15, 20 quid a week. And I've done it all so that the only things that are on are the fish tank pumps and that. And it's still doing it. And they're like, no, it's not a high thing. It's the same thing. It's a dodgy meter. So I think we've pretty much just sorted that one out.
I think you got a dodgy electricity company as well.
I think we have. It's British Gas and all. So
we pay 30 to 40 a month.
Definitely. Would you like to read the next one about the telephone case?
Yes, the telephone case.
Because I was doing really well with that one, and then I read it, and I'm like, no, dodgy meter.
No, I mean that's the problem. I mean, it did state on there that they actually sent a guy around. He checked it all over. The meter was still running, even though all the lights were out.
Yep.
But he obviously stated that if he was going to go back to work and tell them that, I've witnessed it myself, that meter is faulty, whatever. But I struggle to understand, why did he go down the spiritual route straight away?
I would have called them out first.
You would have called them out first and contacted a solicitor as well.
Hang on, I'm going to talk off the cuff and completely off the record. He was selling loads of paintings and was the flavour of the month, and then all of a sudden his paintings and stuff just... And he wasn't flavour of the month, and he wasn't making lots of money.
But that's, in a sense, that's fashion and design, isn't it?
But he blamed it on the amount of electricity, and he said it all coincided. So
it could be just being coincidence.
Or could the loss of his muse, with everything else, could it have made him think, it might be spiritual?
It's possible. But he got away with it anyway, didn't he? Didn't have to pay the bill.
Jammy Bucker.
So, anyway, the telephone case.
Yes.
A Lancashire man whose house has a chilling reputation for poltergeist activity claims he is being haunted by text messages from his dead wife, the Blackpool Gazette reports.
I remember this when it was on the news. It's actually quite interesting.
And this was back in 2008. Frank Jones, 59, was obliged 12 years ago to have his home in Windsor Avenue, Thornton, exorcised after a malevolent spirit dubbed The Thing, which had already driven one terrified...
What, my ex is there?
Terrified family from the house, turned its attentions on him and his wife and kids. In 1971, previous residents of the Ross family told the Gazette how the Thing had pulled at their bed covers while they were asleep, and that they sensed a vile smell and felt something breathing in their ears. Jones moved in 20 years.
To the entity, isn't it? It's very. If you've ever read the.
That's it. But then, you go the entity, Amityville. They all sort of start similar, don't they?
Same smells.
Jones moved in 20 years ago, solidly sceptical about the legendary presence, but soon changed his mind. He recounted, "I just thought they were imagining it, but there was a lot of banging and earthy smell in the house. Then one night I was laying in bed and a mist came across the room. I wanted to shout out at it, but I couldn't get my words out. My face seemed to be paralysed. It all got too much for me when that happened." Jones's daughter, Maureen, 30, confirmed that the Thing had turned on taps and ransacked the house. She said, "You think people are exaggerating until you experience it. I was home alone one evening and suddenly heard these footsteps coming up the stairs. They went into my dad's bedroom, and then I heard all the cupboards banging open. Sounded like burglars." Cue an exorcist from Fleetwood Spiritualist Church who cleansed the property of the spirit trapped between two worlds. Peace then reigned in Windsor Avenue until 5 years ago, when Jones suffered a double tragedy the death of his son Stephen, 32, from a brain tumour, and wife Sadie, 69, 3 months later from a heart attack. Jones explained, just after Sadie died, I came home and I felt I didn't want to go in the house. I got a missed call on my mobile, but it didn't ring. The call was from my own home number, but there was nobody in the house. Then when I went inside, there was a smell like cigarettes, which Sadie used to smoke, and the smell of her perfume. Jones says his family has since received strange SMS messages, which they believe to be from Sadie. He concluded she always had her mobile with her. We buried her with her phone. There have been messages with words Sadie would say, but there's no number.
What do you make of that? Because that's sort of reminds me of an updated version of the bell system they used to put into Victorian graves. Similar.
Yeah, but that was just in case that they'd been misdiagnosed and were actually buried while they were still alive. But this one is it's difficult reading this because I know of Fleetwood Spiritualist Church.
Yeah.
And I actually got one of my friends owns a bed and breakfast, the Miramar in Blackpool, which is literally 3 or 4 minute walk from the Blackpool Tower. And it's a brilliant place, so I can highly recommend it. Reg is the owner. Nice little plug there, Reg. My bill's in the post. But he'd had issues with things going on in the B&B for quite some time. And I did a
B&B. I've never seen this B&B. What is its name again?
The Miramar.
The Miramar B&B in Blackpool, yes?
Yes.
I think you must pass me their details. I think they need me to stay there as well.
I love it there. It's really nice. Hang on, if I can.
You were saying the stuff he had go on.
Yeah, basically he had this strange stuff going on, and it was both negative and positive. So I told him to get in touch with these people.
Yeah.
And they came round. They cleansed the place. They told him and his wife Louise to go out for a walk somewhere, and basically give them an hour. They then went round every single room in the B&B, did their chanting, whatever, and stuff. And they come back, met him outside on the doorstep, and the first thing they said to him is that you have to remain positive.
Yeah.
So that when he mentioned it to me, I turned around to him and said, the problem there is they're telling you to remain positive because any negativity may bring it back.
He hadn't been listening to Pitbull at all, by any chance, had he? Because that sounds very much like some lyrics from a Pitbull song. Took my life from positive to negative.
Right, he's on Charnley Road in Blackpool.
And what was the name of it again?
The Miramar.
The Miramar.
That's the Miramar.
The Miramar. So I was going to read that last one that's on there, but quite frankly, that last one is going to take up half a show. That's a long involved one. So I think we could probably do that next week.
Yeah.
But so
anyway, as I was saying, hang on. After they did the blessings, I've actually been up there a couple of times now, and it is still haunted, but it's only haunted by positive spirits.
Okay, that's good.
There's positive energies. There's a little girl in the kitchen, and while we were actually there, we did mini investigations, and there is definitely something in there, and it's quite good. And he does like a walk challenge. You have to go from the ground floor in the dining room,
right,
all the way to the very top of the B&B, which is 3 or 4 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
In pitch black. You have to walk all the way up to the top and then walk all the way back down again. And there aren't that many people that have been able to do it without something happening.
Oh, that sounds like I need to go there. Where is it?
It is
the Miramar in Blackpool.
The Miramar in Charnley Road, Blackpool.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Reg Cartwright is the owner.
If you would like a haunted location to stay at.
Yep.
I'll tell you another haunted location I have stayed at, and that's the Jamaica Inn down in Cornwall. I've stayed down there twice, and I stayed in the second time. I stayed in the haunted room. Hello.
Sorry, we just got an emergency. I've just heard something my daughter's just said.
Well, you got 5 minutes left. You can freak out after that. Yeah, stayed at Jamaica Inn twice, and I've stayed the second time I stayed in the haunted room.
Mm.
To be absolutely honest, I was blind drunk when I stayed in the haunted room. Don't remember a damn thing, but it has a smuggler's museum built onto it, and also in the main bar of the Jamaica Inn, you'll find little brass plaques screwed into the floor, and it says where all the characters of the book like died, or this happened here and that happened there. Very old building, lovely to stay in, and I will say there is a presence there. It's not. I think what's happened in the rooms is I don't think should be put down completely to paranormal occurrences. Possibly a little bit was, but I think a lot of it was as jitters and knowing these stories. But in the main bar itself, there's definitely something going on. And also in the Smuggler's Museum next door, we were talking about how energy attaches to certain things. There's certain things in there, which I can tell you now, there's stuff attached to, and it affects throughout the whole building. But as a whole, it's not really negative. Enjoyed it, loved it, very positive stay, and I'd recommend it to anybody. Jamaica Inn down in Cornwall. The one from the book by Daphne du Maurier.
Well, I've stayed at the Red Lion in Colchester.
That would be because you live in Colchester. Winchester, but it's the same thing.
Yes, but it's actually in the what they call it, Haunted Rooms website.
Red Lion. Red Lion at Colchester. I'm sure that was my first ever investigation with Kerry Greenaway, and I can never remember the other Kerry surname. Kerry.
Yeah.
Lovely girl. She's gorgeous and all. Kerry. Her. Yes. First ever investigation. I'm sure that was a Red Lion. Absolutely positive. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, Kerry Ann.
That's it. Bugger me. Carry on. How many years have I known her? Jesus. Carry on, mate.
Yeah, I mean, we're practically our team, Truth Beyond Paranormal and Haunted Roses. We're probably the only paranormal team that has been able to spend an entire night there and not get any outside disturbance.
Of course, yeah.
Because if anybody knows Red Lion and Red Lion in Colchester, then you would know that there are nightclubs and bars and pubs right on its doorstep, and the nightclubs don't kick out till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, which is when most events finish.
Haunted Antiques Paranormal Museum has the same problem.
Yeah, and it ruins the investigation because of the outside disturbances coming through, and the amount of times that I've investigated there with various teams in the past, and you'd be in the basement somewhere, and you'd be going, are there any spirits here with us? Can you please come forward? And then all of a sudden, you'll get a couple of pissheads come walking across the barrel entrance, and they'll be like, And at one time, we decided we'd get our own back. There was a guy, he was playing the bongos all night. You could hear him in every single room of the hotel. All you could hear was him sitting on top of the barrel cellar hatch
Drunk,
with these
stoned, or
bloody
hippie?
bongos. Eh?
Drunk, stoned, or a hippie, or all of the above?
He was just busking. And he was there when we got there, about 7:30, I think it was. We all turned up. And he was still there at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Serious? Playing the bongos?
Just down there patting his bongos. We reckon he might have been homeless, but he was busking. Obviously, all the nighttime activities going on. He was probably busking to earn a couple of quid or whatever. And we went down into the basement, and all you could hear was him going boom, 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 boom. I'm like, do you know what? This bloke's really starting to piss me off. So I've gone right up underneath the beer cellar hatch.
Yeah.
And I've literally gone bang, bang, bang. Hey kids, you want a balloon? And that was it. I heard 2 screams and the bloke's bongo stopped. And for about half an hour, we heard nothing. No bongos whatsoever. And I thought, oh, maybe I've scared the living daylights out of him because he was sitting, turned out he was actually sitting on that hatch. And when I smacked me underneath it and did the Stephen King's It routine, he'd like move further down the road.
I have to say, like I say, the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre, although they have that problem, because when we went down there, you had a lot of idiots kicking out from the nightclub.
Yeah.
Drunk as a skunk, lots of police and lots of hey mate, you're looking at me, all that crap.
Yeah.
But one of the best nights I've had in a long time was at the HAPRC. Brilliant night, and things happen now I've never actually had happen before. So that's a place I can recommend. 14th of this month, I am down at Kelvin Hatch. I can't remember. Are you coming? You are? You're going to be at Kelvin Hatch? Oh, awesome! Yes.
You're picking me up on the way through.
Am I?
You're staying here on the way home.
It's a good job you bloody told me. Yes, I am, aren't I? I'm staying overnight, aren't I? Can you look after Ghost for me?
I don't think it's your memory. I think it's the wine.
Not yet. Can you look after Ghost for me? He said wine. Do you know what? In all honesty, I completely forgot I was picking you up. And that was staying there.
We were talking to Paul last week, weren't we? Oh, I've just got moved now. My back's starting to hurt. We were talking to Paul about it last week, weren't we? And then off the air, we said that. Huh?
It is the 14th, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah, because it was all sort of. I think August has been pretty hectic, just like July has been for me, because obviously I got like my birthday weekend this weekend.
Oh,
and then there's next weekend.
Everybody out there watching, no, shush. It's his birthday bash this weekend. So massive happy birthday from all of us here. The dog that's snoring has said happy birthday. Ghost who's asleep is saying happy birthday. Chewy over here is saying happy birthday. Taylor saying,
have the fish said it?
I say happy birthday. And everybody in the chat room saying happy birthday. So happy birthday.
The fish will go.
Right, hang on. There you go.
Happy birthday.
Did you say happy birthday?
That was good.
Yeah, that was cool. That. And the stripper mouse. Oh, can you say happy birthday, please? There you go.
Get your titties out.
What? All 6 of them?
Yeah. We were talking about it, didn't I? It's got loads of bras with studs in.
It's a bit like Total Recall, isn't it?
Oh, God, yeah.
I haven't got 3 hands.
I haven't got 2. What the fuck are you talking about? So, I got 1.5. That's why I do martial arts, because I like a girl who's got 1 big titty and 1 little titty. So I can go, wah! So, remind remind me nearer the 14th, because knowing me, I'll just go straight there. I'm picking you up. We're going there, and I'm staying at yours. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Do I need a sleeping bag or anything, or are you sorted?
No, we got all sorts of stuff here.
Right. Okay. I'm actually looking forward to that.
We've got the sofa bed. So,
are you there or in your new place?
No, we're still here at the moment. Unfortunately, the builder was supposed to be putting in the new bathroom suite, and yeah, at the new house. And I'd gone down there. I'd started to move things over in the living room so that I could start redecorating it.
Yeah.
And then the builder came in and brought all of the stuff for the new bathroom suite and slapped it in the living room, so I can't decorate now.
Right.
So I can't decorate anything until the builder has finished doing the bathroom. So we've been going through all the bedrooms and stripping everything down and putting things in boxes ready for us to bring our stuff in.
Because I'm down that weekend, if Taylor will look after Ghost for me and feed the cats, you all right with that?
Yes, I don't have a choice.
She said yes, didn't you?
Yes, I do.
She's fine with that. So if you want, I'll stay the weekend and help you with the house.
If you don't mind, that'd be a great help.
No, that's all right. Let me know if you need me to bring any tools down or anything, because I've got shitloads of them and help you out.
I've pretty much got a lot of the tools anyway.
Apart from my penis, because that's the one tool you're not using. Okay.
No, we don't. We don't need the toilet unblocking.
No, that's my balls, mate. As soon as I sit down, blip, oh, it's cold. It's what happens when you hit this age. Oh, you're catching it, aren't you? But
thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Do you want us to carry on next week with that mega long story and then go off onto something else? Or would you like us to have a guest? And this includes you guys in the chat room. What would you like us to do? Do you want a guest, story, inane wittering, jokes, just normal show, really? What would you like? And before I forget, we will be putting together a Dark Mirror radio show team. And this is serious. We are going to have our own paranormal team. Yeah. You're on it. We spoke about this. You can't remember. We spoke about it last week.
Dad, I've slept.
You've slept.
She's been asleep since. Oh.
Okay.
She said she would because she's clairvoyant and clairaudient. So she said she'd do it, but not all the time. There's us and Mr. Andy Simpson there, who I've known for quite a while. And to be fair, he comes up with some gems. He sends me them on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, I'll put it up on the wall. He's asked if he'd like to be involved, and I said, yeah, that's no problem. So, but if you want to be involved in the Dark Mirror radio show paranormal team, let me know. There are limited spaces because I'm not going to have a big team. Well, we're not going to have a big team, are we? Because it doesn't work when you've got a big team. It's got to be a small team, limited numbers, so we can all get on with each other and learn to trust each other. James, if you'd like to be involved, I'd love to have you on the team along with Andy. Anybody else? Anybody you know? You? But if anybody wants to be on the team, let me know. You can drop us a message on our Facebook wall, and it will come through to my phone. But as I say, it's at the moment myself and Wayne, this young lady here, and Andy. I have had a few other people who've messaged. I've had to say politely no. Won't go into it. Just politely no. But if you have got the same temperament and sense of humor as all of us here on the Dark Mirror Show, you'll fit in fine. So if you'd like to be a member of the paranormal team, give me a shout or give Wayne a shout.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay. And Andy's there like, yes. So yeah, as soon as we start doing it, because we'll be doing it in conjunction with Paul's team. Paranormal Concept. Yes. because it was the Myth Fit, which I chose a name for that because I thought it was called Myth Fit, and then he changed it to Paranormal Concept Paul. You're an arse. Good job, Olivia. But we'll be doing stuff in conjunction with them, so it means we'll have bigger and better places to investigate with a great bunch of guys. So if you want to be involved in the team, give myself or Wayne a shout. Okay, Wayne.
Yes.
Do you want to plug a book?
Sorry?
Do you want to plug any books or anything?
Nothing to plug really, apart from my keyboard. Maybe I'll plug that in the wall and switch it on, and the TV. No. Job done is still sort of struggling to be completed at the moment because of various bits and bobs that have been going on at the moment.
Yeah.
So at the moment there is still Whistle from the Hills, Lady J and Cricket available from either myself or directly from Amazon. The only difference is I can sell all 3 books signed and a free Spookanori bookmark for £10.
Which I recommend because I have all 3. My ex buggered off with the other ones, so I got this young man here to do me some more copies when we had the investigation and talk.
Yeah.
He's very approachable. He only bites occasionally. It's worth it.
So if anybody's interested in getting a signed copy, just drop me a message or, contact us through here. And obviously we can sort payment out and whatnot. So they're normally £3.50, I think £3.99 each on Amazon, or I do them £3.50 each, and
I think
all 3 for a tenner.
On Amazon, yeah.
So, but obviously you get the privilege of having them signed, and you get the free bookmark, which Amazon don't do. So
there you go. And if anybody is near the nuclear bunker that we just spoke about, that I've completely forgotten. I can never. Do you know? I can talk about that bloody place like all day. I could talk about it all day, and then Kelvedon Hatch. Thank you. And I could. And do you know why? It's because whenever I'm talking to you, I forget it because all I can see in my head when I look at you is Rendlesham Forest. Every time, Rendlesham Forest, because you want me to go down to the Rendlesham Forest thing, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just see Rendlesham Forest, and I've got everything going in my head that happens in Rendlesham Forest, and then Kelvedon Hatch, and I'm like, oh, can't remember the bloody thing about it. Andy, if you're in on our team, you are more than welcome. James, the offer is out there for yourself if you'd like to join our team, and anybody else who is interested in joining our team, either contact Wayne or myself, and we can talk about you joining our very first, the Dark Mirror Radio Show Paranormal Team. And it'll be a one-off. There won't be, after we've got our team, that's it. It won't be open to anybody else. So if you want to get in there, get in there.
Like swimwear.
Like swimwear. Like Speedos.
No.
Speedo?
What rhymes with Speedo? Speedo.
The old budgie smugglers.
That's still what I'd say. I called them budgie smugglers a while back, and you went, "Why do you call budgie smugglers?"
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I know what budgie smugglers.
Is it your sister?
Probably. I know what budgie smugglers.
Yeah. How is your sister?
Still pregnant.
Still pregnant.
Oh, and if James Steele is still watching, I do apologise. We were playing pool the other day online, and my internet dropped out, and I couldn't get back in again. So I will apologise, James. That I do apologise for coming out of that game rather quickly. My internet disappeared.
So you were playing with James, and then you disappeared after a handshake.
Yes.
Coming out quickly.
And there you heard it first, ladies and gentlemen.
We were playing 8-ball pool on the internet.
Pocket pool.
Yes. He was putting his balls in my pockets.
Okay, there's no need to go down that line. Anyway, I will call an end to this atrocity tonight. Hey, look.
What? No, there was a pink-legged spider going across the screen. Didn't you see it? Look.
Like that? That's a dead one.
It's coming again, look. It's coming back. Yeah, it's one of those dodgy ones. It walks upside down.
You know how you know when you see one of them with a massive penis? That's because all you see is that going across the screen. See?
Massive penis.
Oh, hang on a minute. It's like them security cameras, isn't it?
What, when you see a fly go across the screen and they go, oh my God, it's a demon.
There's a spider building a web across the lens. Look.
That's, we were talking about power unity and this, that, and the other. Two things I've got to say to all you guys on TV, radio, adventurers, investigators. Not every single strange speck of light you see is an orb, because 99.9% of the time it's either dust or insects, and not every single strange thing that happens is a freaking demon. It's not. So once you sort that out, it's not all orbs and it's not all demons. One of my pet hates is when some, like, you know, the Edinburgh Vaults.
Yep.
Long time ago, been up there, and one of the rooms is known. It has so much moisture, and it has dust, and it has water particles in the air and everything. And if you film it in infrared, it picks up the whole lot, and you can see what it is straight away. But nearly everybody I know who's been up there has filmed it, and they have screamed orbs, and they've gone to the cemetery and they've gone demons. No, please stop doing that.
The problem is demons, and I sort of added to this the other day. There was someone was doing a live feed about demons, and I turned around to him and said, it's only religion that has sort of brought demons to the forefront. If it wasn't for religion, demons wouldn't exist.
These are, if anything is real, they're travelers from another realm. Maybe the unknown theory, maybe parallel dimensions. I don't know, but my own thing, and I don't mean to offend anybody. My own thing with religion is, you have books written by men a long time ago with rules to govern men and women to toe the line. These days, we all know that a lot of these rules are completely defunct. And
they're still old-fashioned, aren't they?
Yes, and the things that are angels and demons are possibly astral travelers. They could come from other realms, other dimensions, or other planets, and they have been, back then, thousands of years ago, they were classed as demons and angels. But these days, because we're a bit more awoke than we were then, we would say, oh, it could be this, it could be that. So not every single thing that happens on paranormal TV shows like this and like other TV shows, not every single thing is an orb or a demon. Just remember that. My pet hate. Like when somebody sneezes and you get all the ponticlism of spittle in the air. You know, if you did something like that, somebody came along.
But it's like, if you Google skyfish, you get prime example. If you Google skyfish and click on images, you get prime examples of what people are crying orbs. It's first manifestation of a ghost, and all you got is these little wing beats going across the screen.
See, the thing is, we've both talked about this beforehand, and we've talked about paranormal madness, let's put it, and we know lots of people in lots of places who are just full of it. But we're not going to name names or anything like that. But I do think that when you've got, especially mainstream programs, not I don't mean Most Wanted or anything like that, but when you've got mainstream programs and people that present those programs with massive egos, and then they say, this is a demon, or this is this, or this is that, or they're very rude when they talk to spirits, it doesn't do us normal people in the rest of the world a lot.
And the thing is what they're, the way I view it is a lot of these people that do these, they are
very tiny American with glasses. I can't remember his name. Bilbo, something like that. He's very rude to spirits, and everything according to him is either demons or orbs. Mordor, Bilbo. I can't remember.
So,
But a sack? I don't know if he had a sack or not. But everything is a demon or
Yeah.
an orb, and it's just like,
Yeah, but
whoa,
the thing is that what they're doing is that they're saying this, and
American.
the people that are believing them are, unfortunately, a lot of them are too easily led.
Yeah, yes.
And they
yes.
will follow them to the end of the earth,
Yes.
and whatever they say, that's gospel.
Well, it used to be.
I trust them so much. What he's saying has got to be true, and they believe it. And it was like that for years about orbs. When orbs were a thing, everybody was, "Oh my God, did you see that orb?" And some people today still do that. They see an orb and they go, "Oh my God, it's a ghost. Oh, come and talk to me." But now we've actually come out with what an orb actually is. That number of people that believe in orbs has dropped quite considerably. There are still the believers out there, but it didn't help with mainstream shows actually saying that an orb is the first manifestation of a ghost. They never actually said how rare it is to actually get a proper orb.
And I've only ever seen 2 proper orbs once in all the years I have done investigating, and that was watched from a manifestation. Literally, we all saw it, and you could only see it on digital. You couldn't see it on any other form, and it was black, and they both appeared, and Kerry Greenway was there, and they followed us from room to room to room to room, and we put an EMF pump in a certain spot, and again, we couldn't see them with our with our naked eyes, and it was only on digital format, and we watched these things appear where the pump was and spin round the pump like that. 99, you know yourself, don't you, with all the investigations we've done, 99.9% of most things that happen can be explained, but it's that 0.01% that gets the likes of you yourself and myself, Kerry, Carl Hutchinson, all that lot. That it's that makes us go, ooh, and that's why we do this stuff.
I mean, I'm sure I showed you the picture when we did the barn down in Hornchurch.
The black shadow that went across the wall.
No, the one I had of the orb in the chapel at Alton Towers.
Yes, you did say, you did, yeah.
See, now that one, I mean, that loads of people have said to me, "Oh, that's a reflection of the speaker." But when both Kodak and Fujifilm have both analysed that picture and said it's clearly only about 4 foot in front of you and about 5 foot off the ground, which meant it was just above the back of a chair.
Yep.
You know, and I witnessed it come from the ceiling in the chapel at Alton Towers, dropped right down in front of me.
You took a photo though, didn't you?
I took the picture.
That's like when we did that investigation and we both saw that thing come down from the ceiling. You saw it first, and then I saw it, and that's when it hit my tummy.
Yeah,
remember? That's the first time that's ever happened to me in any investigation I've ever done. First time anything smacked me in the stomach. It's never happened before.
Exactly, and the thing is you could be doing paranormal investigations for 20 or 30 years,
nothing happens.
Never have something like that happen, and then just out of the blue, just like that, it happens.
You and me together, I think that was quite a good pairing because I've just never had that stuff happen. You saw the thing, and out the corner of my eye, I've seen it, and it's gone on my stomach. Yep. And we heard the security cameras going, kick. You know.
But it also landed down by my feet, but I couldn't see it when I looked for it. I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Wherever it was, clearly landed in front of me.
Yeah. I want to go back there, and I want to see what those 2 entities that came in. I want to see what their frame of mind is when we go back.
Well, I'd be interested to know whether they've actually moved that exhibition.
Yes, because a lot of people have said that the person involved would not move it. And if it's not moved, those particular 2 entities are going to get very, very vexed, and
the activity will increase.
Yes, yeah,
and it could turn nasty.
And we were the first two ever to have that happen to, because it's never happened in that bit.
No.
So still now I'm like, that was bloody awesome. I said bloody, I didn't say the other word. That was bloody awesome. You know. But anyway, yes, next week we'll talk about something. I don't know what. We could sit here and just play with our nipples for ages. I don't know. It's that random. You might just like it, you might not. I don't know. But we could talk about the Ghost in the Machine, that big one. And we could find a few more bits and bobs. In fact, no. You can find a few more bits and bobs about Gremlins and stuff like that. Yeah?
That sounds like a good idea, actually. We're not talking about the film either.
You love your RAF history. I like my Second World War planes history. And it's normally me that does the research and sends stuff. So this time, you can do it.
Okay, then.
Too busy helping her move in. So...
Well, I'm RAF and World War II buff, so I'll jump onto that one.
All right, if you don't, because I am going to be busy moving young lady into her own house.
We could have. You do realise we could have made this a dark mirror first, and you could have come down on the Friday, and we could have hosted it in the house both together at the same time.
What, the weekend of the 14th? Is that next weekend? It is.
God.
Coming down yours Friday.
As I say, if you came down on Friday, we could do the show together on the Friday, and then we can have a sort of a walkabout and go around to various places during the day, and then shoot off down to Brentwood in the evening.
Are you all right to look after Ghost? Yeah. Thank you. I will do that. I'll come down on Friday. You heard it first, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, booyakasha. I'll come down on the Friday.
I've just noticed when I pulled that face down, I look like one of the tweenies.
You always do, mate, but I didn't want to say anything. You know.
Milo.
What was that? How did his voice go? I used to be able to
I don't know. It's too squeaky. My voice is too deep for him.
Oh, Milo! I can't do it. No, my voice is gone. Yes, no. Because you and your sister used to love the Twinnies, didn't you? Because they in fact, Becky has still got. Do you remember Doodles? The dog, the big red dog.
All right.
Yeah, she's still got Doodles. They used to have Twinnies wallpaper, everything. Anyway, okay, next Friday I'll drive down to yours about lunchtime.
Okie dokie.
All right. So there you go.
Cool.
We'll be live and direct from his back door. See you next weekend.
Bye.
No, I'm straight, but thank you for noticing. See you later. It's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from him.
Goodbye from you.
Bye.
She will be back as soon as we get the Wi-Fi sorted, yeah?
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Wave bye-bye today, everybody. The heart's just not in it, is it?